This lesson will teach you how to correct a journal error after it has posted. If an error has been made in a journal entry and it has already posted, then it needs to be corrected. You cannot correct it simply by erasing the bad entry. Rather, you must record a new journal entry that reverses the mistake. Once the correcting entry has been journalized, it will need to be posted so that the change takes place in the accounts involved and the new account balances are accurate. The source document used for correcting an entry is a memorandum. The abbreviation used for a memorandum in the post-reference column of a journal is a capital M followed by the number of the memorandum, for example, M3. To fix an error, you must reverse the mistake made. What does this mean? It means you must use opposites. If you mistakenly debited an account in the past and posted, then you must credit it now to fix the error. On the other hand, if you mistakenly credited an account in the past, then you must debit it now to fix the error. It can be helpful to use T accounts in analyzing the mistake and what needs to be done to correct the error. Let's look at an example together. On October 2nd, Mandy notices a mistake from several weeks earlier. A transaction for supplies worth $200 was incorrectly journalized in September, and it posted as a debit to equipment instead of supplies. Now she needs to fix it. The mistake involves the equipment account and the supplies account. So let's draw some T accounts. Back in September, the equipment account was mistakenly debited for $200. The entry was supposed to be made in the supplies account. Unfortunately, we can't just erase the equipment entry and move it to the supplies account because the transaction has already posted. In order to fix the problem, we must reverse the mistake. We can reverse the mistaken $200 debit by applying a $200 credit. To correct the error, a journal entry would be made. Record the date of the correction. A memorandum describing what the mistake was should be written, and it becomes our source document. Now we need to correct the mistake. We will place the $200 debit amount in the correct account supplies. Then a credit would be recorded to equipment, which would cancel the $200 debit error that occurred back in September. Look at the T accounts we used to analyze the correcting entry and make sure you understand the logic for what just happened. In the supplies account, we have a debit of $200. This was from the posting of the correcting entry. $200 is now placed in the correct account. In the equipment account, we have a debit of $200. This was the amount that should have been posted to supplies. It was a mistake. To fix it, we used a credit of $200. This came from the posting of the credit part of the correcting entry. This $200 cancels out the mistaken debit. On October 28, Mandy discovered that a transaction for miscellaneous expense was journalized and posted in error to advertising expense for $300. The source document to correct this mistake is Memo 22. Pause the video and try to correct the following mistake on your own. First, enter the mistake and its correction in the T accounts provided. Then write a correcting journal entry. After you are done, resume the video and check your work. The mistake involves the advertising expense and the miscellaneous expense account. At some time in the past, the advertising account was mistakenly debited $300. The entry was supposed to be debited to the miscellaneous expense account. Unfortunately, we can't just erase the advertising entry and move it to the miscellaneous expense account because the transaction has already posted. In order to fix the problem, we must reverse the mistake. We can reverse the $300 debit mistake by applying a $300 credit. To correct the error, a journal entry must be made. Record the date the correction occurred. A memo was written to explain the mistake. This is our source document. Now we need to correct the error. We will place the $300 debit amount in the correct account, miscellaneous expense. Then a credit would be recorded to advertising expense account, which would cancel the $300 debit error. Look at the T accounts we use to analyze the correcting entry and make sure you understand the logic for what just happened. In the miscellaneous expense account, we have a debit of $300. After posting the transaction, the $300 debit will now be in the correct account. In the advertising expense account, we have a debit of $300. This was the amount that should have been posted to miscellaneous expense. It was a mistake. To fix it, we used a credit of $300. This came from the posting of the credit part of the correcting entry. This $300 cancels out the mistaken debit.